BlackBerry. BlackBerry, BlackBerry, BlackBerry. That's pretty much all you were hearing back in 2011. I remember being a kid like 9 or 10 and just remember wanting a BlackBerry so bad because of how many people I saw with one. And then when my mother finally got a BlackBerry, I was like, whoa, we're rich now. But no, man, what happened to BlackBerry? Hey guys, what's up? Shamar Crossfield here and welcome back to my channel. And in this video we're just going to be talking about BlackBerry, the phone empire of the 2000s and its downfall. So let's get into it, but let's answer the question, what is BlackBerry? So first of all, BlackBerry was not always called BlackBerry. Initially, when it was established back in 1984, it was initially called Research in Motion, or RIM. It was established by two young guys here and here, and they've actually made a really big impact by creating this phone. Initially, they didn't start off by making phones. I mean, this was back in the 1980s, right? So their first product, which was a two-way pager, was actually released in 1986. And then after that, in 2002, they released what could essentially be called a phone. And following that release in 2006, they added the trackpad to the phone, which would allow users to scroll about the phone screen. And initially, this was all business oriented. This phone was actually designed for business and business people in the business industry. So it wasn't really for recreational use. It wasn't necessarily to just have fun. So it came with browsers, like back when the internet was just becoming a major thing. It came with the browser and it operated on BlackBerry's own operating system. So BlackBerry was not always the company that we all came to know and love. But let's get to that company. So BlackBerry originally changed their name back in 2013. But before that, they've been making phones under the name BlackBerry. So Research in Motion was creating phones called BlackBerry. So you had BlackBerry Curve and all those other phones that were called BlackBerry phones. But Research in Motion was still the company that produced the BlackBerry phones. BlackBerry sold 50 million units in its peak in 2011. At its peak, it owned 50% of the phone market in the US and globally 20%. That's a big accomplishment. That was its peak back in 2011. BlackBerry made some real strides. They started out with two guys back in 1984. Released their first phone in 2002, but before that they were making handsets and pagers. And in 2011, it took them, so it's arguable that it took them a while to really hit the peak. But in 2011, when they expanded beyond just the business aspect and started adding some other things such as BBM, which is BlackBerry's initial messaging service. Just like how you would have iMessage, well, yeah, BBM came first, okay? So that was the hype back then. Like, it was basically an exclusive messaging app only for BlackBerry phones. And it's just like how you have iPhones and iMessage now. But obviously, BlackBerry had a whole empire. And it's undoubtable that BlackBerry was the king of the internet era at one point in time. They're iconic, legendary, but that's just what they are. Legends. Legend, noun. A story handed down from the past. So after 2011, which was its peak, it was undoubtedly its peak, having 50% of the United States market and 20% of the global market. That's a tremendous feat. But after that, BlackBerry kinda started to go downhill. And that's what happens after you reach the peak. You can only go down from there. So what really caused BlackBerry's downfall? Why is it that BlackBerry is not popping right now? Why is BlackBerry forgotten? Well, it all has to do with the iPhone, surprisingly enough. Well, not everything, but a good amount of it has to do with the iPhone. So in 2007, Steve Jobs released the iPhone. Year after year, iPhone began releasing new models. Something new with each model, something that would appeal to the customers. It eventually actually caught up with BlackBerry and began selling just as much units as BlackBerry because of their year after year innovation in what they were giving their consumers. So BlackBerry, now seeing this, did not initially think that it was a threat, because BlackBerry said that their whole thing was revolving around mainly business individuals, and at the time iPhone was not really catering to businesses like that. At least not on the scale as BlackBerry was. So BlackBerry didn't think of it as a threat, they didn't think of it as any competition. BlackBerry continued doing their thing, and Apple continued doing their thing and was doing it well. Eventually they released the iPhone 4, and the iPhone 4 was not the true death of the BlackBerry, but the iPhone 4 signed the BlackBerry's death notes. Quoting from Business Insider. The iPhone had their iOS OS, BlackBerry still had their BlackBerry OS, and over time iPhone kept releasing newer models with newer additions, newer features, everything that was appealing to what someone would want to buy. In 2012, the iPhone sales surpassed that of BlackBerry, and then in 2013 they surpassed BlackBerry's sales again. But this time to stay, and BlackBerry never did catch up to Apple with their sales. Apart from the iPhones was the fact that BlackBerry failed to innovate. They failed to keep up with the demands of what people wanted in a time where change was inevitable, and in a time where change with what was being produced was required of a company, especially a smartphone company. No, don't get it wrong. They did release a few smartphones back then, or what would be considered touchscreen devices. So yeah, smartphones. But what Apple had that BlackBerry didn't was innovation, year after year consecutively. And BlackBerry failed to innovate. BlackBerry became complacent, and as a result, in 2016, BlackBerry stopped producing their own phones, and as such BlackBerry kind of just faded away. Research in motion was no more in 2013, and BlackBerry became a thing of the past in 2016. BlackBerry is legendary, and their legacy will live on with the millennials, but sadly after that their legacy will only become a thing of the past in this world of iOS and Androids. And it kinda already is. But it's not all bad. BlackBerry is currently manufacturing technologies for other companies, and so it's not like their company really and truly was eradicated and faded to dust.
I don't feel so good.
You're all right.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
And BlackBerry released a smartphone in 2018, the BlackBerry Key 2, which flopped. But they actually released other smartphones prior to that as well, but I'm pretty sure that you didn't know that. Let's just say BlackBerry, 1984 to 2016. Here lies BlackBerry. So thank you guys for watching. It's really unfortunate what happened to BlackBerry. They were a really powerful company, and with this whole story that you guys have just watched, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Please remember to subscribe and support the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. Still trying to work on a better outro, but